Welcome back to a Podcast, episode 35. I'm one of your hosts, Jason,
And I am Griffin.
and absent today is Laurence Guider and Wyatt Oakers, our other co host. I know for all of our fans, you're very disappointed that our other hosts aren't here. I profusely apologize. They're both still in school, reading or writing essays at this time.
How dare they do educational things?
I know, right? I know. And then Griffin and I are adulting, working Monday to Friday jobs pretty much.
And
Griffin's in,
sometimes the weekends.
yeah, and Griffin's in South Dakota, and I'm in Minnesota.
I'll be back soon.
Very soon. But awesome. Well, everyone, welcome back to another podcast. Today we have I'd say a bit of a jam-packed episode tonight. We'll be recapping our victory versus the Miami of Ohio Redhawks that we played last week. A few feedback on that game, and then move on to preview our next opponent, which is our second non-conference game of the season. Our third game overall in the season is the University of Colorado Buffaloes, or the Buffs, over in the mountain region. And then other takes and other things to touch on in the Gopher sports world. So let's go on to recap our game versus Miami of Ohio. To say the least, it was a stressful game as any Minnesota fan, I would say. We won 31-26 at home, and just to get started, Wyatt left us some show notes, so I'll read that off first. For the record, per Wyatt, I don't think the scoreboard reflects how we played last week. I think looking at the halftime score, you get a sense of what we're capable of, and watching the second half, you can see PJ looking ahead and getting Potts confidence by handing him the ball is the best way to really commit to the next man up mentality. Most season is done, so we need Potts ready to go, and PJ committed to that last week. And then he gave his score, which we will win the game 23-21 in Colorado. So dissect that show notes there, Griff. I agree. When I was at the game, I saw the halftime score of 21-3 or 21-7, and I thought, okay, as long as the Gophers keep on like the foot on the gas, keep the run game going, kill clock, kill time, I think we win the game. And of course, when you and I saw the game way later, while I was taking pictures and you were just doing your own thing, that score was way closer at the end there, 31-26. And mind you, even though we still had time of possession at 32 and a half minutes versus Miami's 27 and a half that entire game. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of scary. Obviously, me just following updates got kind of difficult. But after the game, this past week I've been watching as many highlights as I can to try and get what I can get out of that game. And basically, what I got out of it was Minnesota's running game versus Miami of Ohio's receiving core, because
Yep.
we had Potts with 178 yards and Miami's receiving core had 237. Like it was basically like who's going to win that matchup, and it seems like most of Miami's passing happened in the second half on their comeback. And part of me is thinking that why is our defensive line not getting pressure? I feel like that was supposed to be kind of like our strength this year. It's like, okay, we got Chad Wilt coming in to help the defense. We have
A lot of starters
MJ
coming back.
Anderson. Yeah, we have MJ Anderson. We got Braylon Oliver. We got Boye Mafe. Like, how are we not pressuring the quarterback at all? Have we even recorded a sack this year? I really don't think we have.
Not much. So here's what happened when I was at the game. So when I wasn't taking pictures for our great University of Minnesota marching band, great people, great organization that Griffin and I and the rest of the hosts were part of, a lot of missed opportunities, I will say. Like, the defense get the pressure, but then there's a hole. I think there's no spy, like there's no linebacker or safety in the box to keep an eye on the court because Brett, what the hell was his name? Um, their starting quarterback Brett something, and then their back quarterback AJ Mayer had opportunities to run. Like they got first downs or made a play with their legs. So essentially, we didn't play QB contain, and when we did play QB contain, our pass rush couldn't get pressure, and then they throw to an open receiver with our defensive backs like 5 yards off of that receiver. That's what, at least when I looked around, looked at the play of the game, and I'm pulling my hair out in the stands. I'm like, how are you blowing this coverage? And I know we have some new guys on the defensive backside, but come on, Tyler Nubin, Jordan Howden, and Coney Durr, this is not something you guys normally do. That's what I've noticed. Like when we do get a pass or pressure, the quarterback just made plays with his legs, or when we do contain him or keep him in the pocket, they just make good passes in the pocket.
I think at the collegiate level, like wide receivers, if you made it that far, you're obviously really good, right? And you have defensive backs that are arguably playing the most difficult position in the game, right? Like it's hard to go one-on-one against someone, and you can't necessarily always run side by side because they're running different routes.
Yep.
But at the same time, not even the best defense in college football can't contain every single receiver. But that's why you have a defensive line that pressures a quarterback to either A, make a bad throw, make an errant throw it to maybe not their best option, but because they're limited to a certain side of the field that they're running on. And I think that's what we're missing. I don't, maybe it's just me because I couldn't see a bunch of the highlights, or I couldn't see most of the game. Was it really blown coverage, or was it decent enough coverage where if we had defensive line pressure, the DBs and could have made a play?
Yeah, and
I
again,
don't know. That's just me asking. Maybe as you kind of watch more of the game.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure because where I was, of course, where the band sits, the pride pit, or like that general seating in the student section. It's not a great angle, like for side to side, like from end zone to end zone. So maybe my perspective may be skewed because I think it's closer to each other than I think it is. But again, we'll have to review the tape. But I just don't know, man. Like the defense, I think it's still thrown aside to get pressure right now still. As for defense, which I know defense has been some of our struggles lately, like we had a great like 3/4 of a game against Ohio State, and it had a great, I'd say, first half against Miami of Ohio. The other thing that concerns me was our passing game. Tanner Morgan was only 8 of 17 for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns, with Dalen Wright being our lead receiver with 3 receptions and 73 yards and 1 touchdown. But that does not explain the narrative, because what I saw that day too, passing game was just iffy. Like I have no idea why. Like Dalen dropped a lot of passes. Daniel Jackson and Mike Brown-Stevens also had similar situations as drop passes, and I don't know if it's just jitters from them or not, but again, a good chunk of drop passes from our entire receiver core. And you can certainly tell that missing Crab, Chris Ottman-Bell, is also prevalent. Like I think Tanner doesn't have his next go-to receiver. If Crab is back and he's like the alpha, and then I can totally see Dalen and Daniel just having a day against any defense. But that game, that was rough, especially the second half on the wide receiver core.
Yeah, I'd love to go back to the drills PJ was doing with like the Nebraska games. Like, okay, we know it's going to be ugly. We know we're gonna, and now we have to do drills with you're putting your hands in cold water, or you're putting the footballs in ice. Like whatever he's doing, they need to do some of those drills. They need stick them on their hands. I don't care.
Yeah. No, so here's the full stats on the receiving game here, Griff. Dalen Wright, 3 receptions, 73 yards. Daniel Jackson, 4 receptions for 30 yards. And then our boy, Brevin Spann, with only 1 reception for 9 yards. Too bad they don't list the targets that each player got on the receiving game. But only 3 receivers caught balls that game. That you look at Miami, Ohio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players made receiving plays or received the ball that day. And the only reason why I think we won the game was because we capitalized on turnovers. Like we got a fumble on their quarterback, Brett Gabbert. There's his name, Gabbert, and then Tyler Nubin or Terrell Smith picked them off as well. So we like by taking that turnover, we changed the dynamics of the game. And then who's our and Bucky Irvin or Marquise Irvin, but he goes by Bucky or they call him Bucky, made a great 43-yard return at the kickoff to get the Gophers to midfield to then put us in better position to seal the game as well. Yeah.
I wish this offense had a little bit of a different flair to them this year, but it kind of just seems similar to last year.
Yeah.
Because I know we were kind of talking last year. It's like we want to see Brevin span forward. We're all trying to get on the Brevin span forward hype train. Like this is going to be his breakout year, but
what's this year 4 at this point? Year 5. I lost track.
God, I think he's currently a junior.
So
I think he's still got, yeah.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I feel like I want more from the offense. And the first half of the game, Griff, I will say, Dalen Wright and Daniel Jackson were catching balls with the slant, like our go-to route and play for this offense. And then I don't know why the second half those same slants did not work. Like they were dropping passes. Some were near interceptions as well. I just don't know about the offense, man. Like I'm happy for one guy. Trey Potts is our new number 1 running back. Again, he feasted that day, especially in the fourth quarter. But other than that, I'm worried about the depth behind him because you and I have seen Trey Potts' career so far, at least last season, injury ridden. I will say, like I hate to say it, but he did get injured. You know, if he didn't stay healthy, we had someone behind has to step up. And Cam Wiley and Bryce Williams struggled mightily this game.
But to be fair, yes, they did, but they only combined for 5 carries.
True.
For -2 yards, so it's kind of a small sample size. But at the same time, we've seen Bryce Williams. He scored against Wisconsin
twice
when we won the Axe. We've seen Cam Wiley. We've seen both of them make plays.
Yeah.
But someone needs to inspire this team. I don't know who it's going to be.
I'm really missing that.
We need that natural leader to emerge.
Yeah.
On both offense or defense. We need the Antoine Winfield Juniors of the team.
Yeah. I'm really missing that pair in the spare days. And we had Shannon, Rodney, and Kobe McCray, or the next season, Rodney, Mo, and Shannon. Like, I miss that even more. But other than that, I will note one more player. Our kicker made all of his damn kicks. Hallelujah.
Okay, so he made 1 50-yarder. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Matthew Trickett was 1 for 1 on field goals at 50 yards, and then 4 for 4 on extra points. So combining for 7 points this game. So he pretty much got us a touchdown extra point on his own right.
So basically, the Gophers have found a kicker. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think so. He is a transfer though, so I hope we don't lose him, or I hope we don't lose him too quickly.
Well, if he goes from Kent State to Minnesota, that's a pretty big jump.
Yes, it is. But I think that's all I had on the Miami game. I think it was a very rough game. Like Wyatt said, I think this team is better than they think they are, or they're capable of winning games the way we do things. I agree with that. It's just there is some ugly moments in this game that I did not like to see or wasn't happy to see. So I'd say I'll take the win. Dubs don't come easily, as we talked last in the podcast. So I'll take the win, but it says this team needs to get better every game moving forward too.
Absolutely, especially if they're going up against Colorado, who almost nearly upset number 5 Texas A&M.
Yep, and that's to our next preview here. We are playing University of Colorado Buffaloes. They're currently first in the Pac-12 South, but I think because it's still early season. But so here's some key things. So their record right now is they're 1-1. Their first game won 35-7 against the University of Northern Colorado, and then their second game, which was a loss to number 5 Texas A&M, but they only lost 7-10. And Texas, from what I saw in the little film I saw, Buffaloes have a very stingy defense and an offense. Like they make very little mistakes. Like if they get a chance, they'll do their part and score, and then win via defense. And they like the rushing game, for what I've heard. So that's all I know about the Buffaloes. But overall, looking ahead at the game, ESPN's FPI has us winning 40%, favoring the Buffaloes 60%. The spread currently is -3, favoring Colorado. Money line at Gophers is +125, and the over/under is 48.5 for this game. And we're playing in Boulder.
So the ball's going to be traveling a little bit farther.
Yep.
It's, you wouldn't think that the spread would be only 3 when you can look at the points allowed per game for both teams, and the Gophers is at 35.5 and Colorado's is at 8.5.
Yeah. I'd say that number is sort of skewed because
100% skewed.
Yeah. And I think ESPN's FPI takes that into account with the points allowed per game. So some key stats. So Colorado's leading quarterback, Brendan Lewis, is currently at 23 of 40 for the season, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Their lead rusher is Jarek Broussard, 27 carries, 145 yards total with 2 touchdowns. And then their lead receiver is Daniel Aria, at 3 receptions for 37 yards. So in terms of stats-wise, their receivers and their offense doesn't explode to us. But their offense reminds me of like a Mitch. I don't want to say this name, but the Mitch Leitner kind of offense. Like their quarterback is sort of limited, but he has experience to make plays, and will make dumb decisions, typically. But other than that, both teams have high total yards. Gophers at 347.5, and then Colorado at 321.5. Of course, Gophers is very pretty even, 189 on rushing, and then 159ish on passing, versus the Buffaloes at 226 rushing and 95.5 passing. So they're very rush heavy.
We will see a lot of Joe Rossi dialed up defense with 8-9 players probably in the box.
Yep. And maybe cover 1 safety as well.
Probably.
Yep.
I think this will be the first game though where we'll see Minnesota finally get their first sack.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Other than that, anything else about the Buffaloes that you know? I know you're heading into town there for the Saturday's game.
I am indeed. Just kind of looking at Brendan Lewis. Was it Brendan? Yeah, Brendan Lewis. 6'2", 225, freshman. Low quarterback rating. Maybe this is the battle of low QBRs.
Never mind.
For this game.
I thought he was a veteran quarterback.
No, he is a freshman. but it looks dual threat, and at 6'2", 225, maybe he's not. But I look at him, and
But
if he starts running, then the Gopher defense is screwed.
Yep. Very concerned about that. But other than that,
Yeah.
I think overall, like you said, I think this could be a game of us putting guys in the box, trying to stop the run, not let their quarterback, um, you know, beat us with his legs, and make them beat us with their passing game. I think. And then for the Gophers, I like us to rush with Trey as much as we would like to, but what I want to see is more consistency in the passing game. Like, can I see less drop passes in the last game? Like, I just need like maybe I'll give each player up to 2 drop passes, maybe 1, and then do better from there. Like, I maybe Dalen Wright can give us a slant route, catch the ball, and just run it to the house, to the end zone, like Ty Johnson and Rashad Bateman, please. Or Brevin Spanford.
Run a wheel route or something and go up and contest some of these catches.
Give us Philly.
Ooh. Wouldn't that be something?
I think someone, hey, actually, hang on. I think someone last game did that. Let me double check the box score. Nope, never mind. Not this game. Yep, I stand corrected. That's not correct. But for this game, you and I and Wyatt said we're going to win this game. Wyatt gave his prediction. He says we're not going to cover the spread. So, wait, do we say cover? Is that for the Gophers +3 or no?
Colorado.
Okay. So, Wyatt says has us winning 23-21. I am going to say 31-27. It's going to be a close game, but I think we're going to go 31-27, 31-28-ish.
Ooh. Spread is 3. Let's go. Oof, I don't know. We'll make it similar to the last game score. Let's go Gophers 30, Colorado 26.
Okay.
We are putting those kickers to work.
Matthew Trickett better be perfect for his field goals that day.
He's gonna go hopefully 3 for 3.
And I hope he don't sprain his groin or something, or hammies. Perfect. So let's move on to other items. So first of all, I brought this for the show today, Griffin. I'd like to give a shout out to our friends. Okay, it won't fit. Hang on. I'd like to give a shout out to a friend at Rutgers. Shout out to Molly. When Griffin and I went to Rutgers 2 years ago. Wow, 2 years ago. When we came to the Gopher game, we traded some Gopher merch, a Gopher marching band hat, stuff, and we got some Rutgers gear too. And shout out to Molly.
Shout out to Molly on the banks of the old Raritan.
Yes, but dude, they're 2-0 right now. About to go expected to go 3-0.
It's the Shiano effect, man. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, and they're 3-0 or they're 2-0 right now, about to be hopefully 3-0. But if they win their next game, they're going to be undefeated. They'll be undefeated so far, and they just need to win 3 games to be bowl eligible. And Rutgers has missed a bowl game for a very long time. I think the Chris Ash era, they never went bowling, I think, ever. So if they can do that and get bowl eligibility, that puts, I think Rutgers is on the right path, because their defense is actually very stingy when I saw their film. Of course, their offense is still shaky. Like they're splitting time, I think with Noah Vedral and I think another quarterback. Um, who was the guy that we played when we were there, Griff? Before Noah Vedral showed up.
Oh,
Not
God, we know it.
not the kid that was like the 4-star recruit out of the same school as Zach
Oh,
Anixted.
Arthur Sikowski.
Not him. He's at Illinois
No,
now.
yeah, I know that's just who I was thinking of.
Oh, Johnny Langdon. There you go.
Yep,
Yeah.
Langen.
So Langen and Vedra are splitting time. I've seen or heard. And that running back that scored twice against us 2 seasons ago is still with the team. I think he's their most veteran rusher on that roster. So
wasn't it like Isaiah?
Something like
Or
that.
my-
Yeah, something like
Yep,
that.
Isaiah Pecchio.
I think so.
Yep, that's right.
Pacheco?
Oh, is it Pacheco?
Something like
Peck.
that. Yeah.
Pacheco. Yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
I'm excited for our friends in the Big Ten East. I'm excited for you guys. I think you guys deserve it. It's a long time coming, so hope you guys win 3 more games in Big Ten play and then get on a bowl trip.
You know, I think they'll squeak out the 6th win, to be quite honest. But their Big Ten schedule starts out pretty brutal. They play 25 Michigan, 9 Ohio State, 18 Wisconsin, and 10 Penn State.
Oof. And
So
what's their games afterwards?
well, so that's through the rest of the season. They're not all back to back.
Oh, okay.
So Michigan and Ohio State are 4 and 5. Then they play Michigan State, Northwestern, Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Penn State, Maryland. So I think they'll squeak out the 6 wins against Maryland, Illinois, and Michigan State.
I don't want to say it. Are they playing Northwestern in Evanston?
Correct.
Oh, frick.
Yeah.
I was hoping they would win in it was not Evanston. I think they would take it, but never mind. But I don't know. Actually, it's only us, Griff. It's not in Rutgers. So I think for Rutgers, it's a toss-up between that and Maryland, I think. Depending on how Patty Fitzgerald's squad holds up this season. I think there's a season where they'll have their down year, and then next year they'll go back up. But we shall see.
Yeah. I really think they'll maybe squeak out that 6th win, though. I can see it.
Yeah.
Michigan State's not too impressive. Illinois is not impressive. And Maryland isn't too impressive yet. Maybe I'm disrespecting Tagovailoa, but
to be honest, I think the only thing that's good about their team is the quarterback on Maryland. That's it. I'm sorry, Maryland. I don't like the rest of your roster. But yeah.
Anyway, why are we talking about the Big Ten East?
Yeah.
This is a Gopher podcast.
Yeah, I know. But just a quick shout out to our friends in New Jersey. Next up, touch on some Gophers in the pros. Week 1 was this past week. What did you watch the Monday night stream with Eli and Peyton Manning?
I watched it for about 5 minutes. I'm like, this is dumb, and I'm switching it to the regular broadcast. I honestly didn't enjoy it that much.
Oh, I did. I think you once they got I kept watching. I enjoyed it more than the Monday night booth, if I'm being quite honest. So I had a blast, but that was a fun game to watch. Went to overtime. I thought the Rays were going to blow it, and then they got the ball back and won the game in the end. Sunday was fun, except for the Vikings losing. But then again, all the teams.
Dalvin Cook wasn't fumbling the ball.
But I will say, though, the NFC North all lost anyway, so we're all tied. So
I think the Vikings still are at the top, though.
Because of the point differential. Or the points.
Woo!
So I'll take it. And then, of course, Tampa Bay beating the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. And tomorrow, I'm now looking forward to that game. I think it's the 2 teams in the Big Ten least. But on to some Gophers in the pros. So I want to get this off my chest because I know how brutal the NFL can be, especially like for the player. But our boy in special teams for the Gophers back then, Ryan Santoso, had a very good week 1 performance with the Carolina Panthers, going 1-2 on field goals and 1-2 of extra points and 2-2 on field goals at the 22 and 29 yard lines, finishing the game with 7 points. But because the NFL is business when it comes to the players. He was cut by the Panthers. Is now a free agent. They signed a different kicker named Zane Gonzalez from the Detroit Lions' practice squad because they don't want to give the New York Giants the 7th round pick that they traded in order to acquire Ryan Santoso. So that's brutal.
We're literally talking about a 7th round pick. Who even cares?
Yeah,
what
like I don't know why that he trying to say I'm a 7th round pick, unless you're Rick Spielman, but I don't know about Carolina. But oof, Ryan, and I hope like Wyatt says in the group chat, he hopes he finds a different job because he's making his kicks at least on field goals and at least half of his extra points in game time so far. So
I mean, Zane Gonzalez, I believe he played for Cleveland a couple years ago. I don't think he was that impressive at all either. So
because they got Cody Parkey now.
True.
The guy who double doinked is now playing well for the Browns.
So, you never know. The Panthers could end up cutting Zane Gonzalez in 2 weeks too.
Yep. Or 3 weeks, I think. I don't know. But some other names. So Max Williams is playing for the Cardinals, a tight end. Chris Streveler, third string quarterback for the Cardinals as well, did not participate in that game. Eric Murray, safety for the Texans. Damian Wilson and Devondre Campbell, both are linebackers, respectively, with Jacksonville and Green Bay. Blake Cashman played for the Jets as linebacker, but unfortunately his season's already he's already on IR, man. 8 snaps in, and he injures his hamstring already. So he's on IR and will be on there for at least a few weeks on there. Our boy Antoine Winfield Jr. Still starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the returning Super Bowl champions. Again, playing safety. Tyler Johnson is still on the Bucs roster, but unfortunately he is behind several players on that stacked wide receiver core, like Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and then there's speedsters Scotty Miller, and of course you still have Gronk at tight end in that receiving core. So Tyler TJ is still behind on a loaded roster, only having a couple snaps last game with one target, one pass targeted to him, which felt incomplete. Carter Coughlin, a linebacker for the Giants, only played 4 snaps that night, didn't have record a sack. And then Benjamin St. Juste, a rookie this season, is with the Washington football team at corner. He made his debut and had a rough night. He played 58% of the defensive snaps for them, made 47 tackles. Oh, no, not 47. Made 4 tackles and 4 of the 47 snaps he played. But unfortunately, he was picked on by Justin Herbert in the Chargers offense, giving up 6 catches and one of being the game-winning touchdown pass. And then, unfortunately, Rashad Bateman was injured during camp and will be on IR until week 4 against the Broncos. Will be the earliest. The rest of the players on practice squads, Rodney Smith and Kamal Martin are on the Panthers. Chris Williams is on the Falcons practice squad. Brian Body Calhoun is on the Titans practice squad. And then former Gopher Keandre Thomas, defensive back, is with the Chargers. But that's
I didn't know about Keandre.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised Keandre is still on the still out there, bouncing around the NFL. But that's our Gophers in the pros, and I will say I'm so happy to see this list widen, Griff. I remember reading just mainly Max Williams, Eric Murray, Damian Wilson, Devondre Campbell, and of course hearing about Brian Body Calhoun, Keandre Thomas a little bit there, and then I think that might be it. And now I'm seeing, the guys that, won a lot during our years there. So Antoine, TJ, Carter Coughlin, Ben St. Juste, Chris Williamson, Rodney Smith, Kamal Martin, Keandre Thomas, Blake Cashman. I just love to see the amount of Gophers on the in the NFL, and 2 of them being on the Bucks Super Bowl championship team from last year. So great to see. Great to see.
The list will only get bigger, and I just wish that it translated to more wins now.
Yeah. But other than that, any hot takes today? Or if any takes at all?
Hot takes.
Oh, I want to ask you this: do you think
I was gonna say,
PJ?
what?
Do you think PJ may leave for the USC job?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
In like, I'm 99%.
He's not a good here.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure he would not go to USC because I don't think LA would appreciate his row to boat thing for like 4 years, 3 years. But I say 99% chance because there's always a chance he may leave, right? So 1% likely,
Right. I mean,
possibility, but I will say this. People are saying Urban Meyer. I think he's going to sit it out and suck it up with the Jags for a couple more seasons until he gets fired or he quits. And then he'll go and then he'll take the USC job because whoever that coach is going to get fired in 2 to 3 years. I think that's my take.
You know, I mean, I look at it though, and the way the offense is getting run. Not that it's entirely on PJ, because PJ's a guy that's going to let the coaches in their respective departments handle it. But like we don't stretch the field at all with long passes. Like that nice West Coast offense kind of seems like it fits PJ's style a little bit more. But I still don't think he's going to leave.
Nope.
But that's just me, and I don't know everything, so you never know. We'll find out.
A name that I do like for the USC job, though, and I really like this name, and I wish he got a head coaching job the last 2 years, but he didn't. Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs. His name's been popping up lately.
That probably would be good for him.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy. I know people are spouting Urban Meyer, which makes sense. He can rebuild a program at college football pretty well and easily.
Yeah, and he can also retire in the same amount of time.
Yep. James Franklin from Penn State.
Ooh, interesting.
Another name that's been out and about. That's it for the Big Ten. At least like the rumblings are again PJ and James Franklin. As for other names, Luke Fickell, I believe, from Cincinnati, has been a key name coming out. Matt Campbell from Iowa State. But
both of them are pretty successful right now.
Yeah. So I would have to agree with Joe Klatt. It has to be a guy that is okay dealing with the because you know how the NIL name, image, and likeness got passed by the NCAA. Essentially, you're going to have college players that's going to act like NFL players because they have money. They're making money. They're making possibly some of them are making more than some head football coaches or some of the assistants on the on the staff. And that's a peculiar nature to do it. And I think I totally agree with at least what Joe Klatt brought up was Eric Bieniemy. I think Eric Bieniemy, since he's been in the NFL, he also coached in the college ranks as well, that he can handle those personalities and like conversations with the player about pushing it in the NIL situation. They're making money, they're making their own decisions essentially, kind of deals, versus like before NIL, coaches dictated what they did prior. So that's gonna be an interesting dilemma as well. But I heard from what I've seen, USC is going to take its time for the next 1 to 2, 3 months to find their coach. I think they're hoping to get someone on prior to the December national early signing day, but we shall see. But yeah, but I agree. I don't think PJ is going to leave, but if he does, well, whatever.
Eric Bieniemy seems like a good players coach.
Yeah, and he's an LA kind of guy too, so fingers crossed. But
is he?
Yeah, he's from the LA area, I think.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yep. But other than that, I think that's all I had My hot take is if it's not Bieniemy or like those big name coaches for USC, is some random coach I never heard of. I think they will get fired, and in 2 or 3 years, and then Urban Meyer, who will also be fired from the Jaguars, will come back and bring USC to prominence for like, maybe 3 to 5 seasons, and then he retires, as usual.
I don't even think I have a hot take this week.
Nothing from Wyatt or Laurent. So with that, let's wrap up the podcast. So again, for all of our fans and listeners, thank you for listening to us tonight for episode 35 on the recapping of our last game against Miami of Ohio, previewing our next away game at University of Colorado, the Buffaloes, along with listening to some of our ramblings and takes today. Well, again, thank you for your time, and we'll see y'all next time. And again, I'm one of your hosts, Jason O.
And I'm Griffin Most.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Hopefully with Laurent's.
Hopefully.
And Wyatt. Don't worry, Wyatt. I didn't forget about you.